Hey, my name's Mike. I've been injured for over 28 years. I'm a quadriplegic with a C4-5, more of a 4 than a 5. And I'm a therapist. I've got my PhD at UConn. I have a master's degree in counseling, a second master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and then a PhD in family studies with a concentration in family therapy. Yeah, I was 18, just having graduated from high school. An athlete in high school, I played basketball. I rowed for the crew team. I worked for the town of Mansfield every summer at the local swimming area, which was called Bicentennial Pond. It's just one of those things I did 100 times, and the 101st time didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. I ran along the beach, took 3 or 4 giant steps into the water, dove in, and then must have hit my head on the bottom. Hitting my head instantly left me numb and immobile, and I kind of knew something was up then. And so the ironic thing was they had an EMT class training at exactly the same time, so I became their instant guinea pig, and they, got me out of the water and got me to the hospital from there. At the time of my injury, my mom was an operating room nurse. Then my dad was just someone that would help out all the time. So they modified their own home. When I came back from rehab in Craig Hospital in Colorado, I got home from rehab right before Christmas. My brother gave me a Stephen King book and just floppy disk for a computer game. And I was kind of angry at the time because I'm like, well, I can't do either one of these things. And then I was just kind of sitting around watching TV in a chair that I couldn't control because I was waiting for my own motorized chair when I got frustrated and decided, well, I'm going to figure out how to do these things. And so I put a little tray on my lap with a mouth stick, and then I decided, well, what about a desk that I could roll under with a computer on top, and set up a tray where I could read books, play computer games, and that was the initial stages of figuring out academics and being able to read and opening up a world of possibility. I was a shy guy before I was injured, and so throw an injury on top of that. It was about a year later that I started college. I was the only one with a spinal cord injury. Really the only person I got to know was that person who took notes, and then when class was over, went back home and studied. And I thought instead of being able to compete athletically, I was going to compete academically and achieve as high marks as possible and prove that I was, still worthwhile. I was doing my own therapy at the same time to help deal with transition. And so I kind of found that, the cross between psychology being really interesting, it being something I was doing already, and then me realizing, hey, this is something I could do as someone that kind of sits all the time anyway, but most therapists sit and talk with someone else who's sitting. I thought, wow, this is something that's possible, and so that's how I got into the field and progressed and just went as far as I could go. I was asked to do a talk in front of a diversity class, and that was about 300 students where they just shot out questions, anything you could think of, and I just answered them. Being secure in myself just kind of developed from there. It really comes around through going out there and knowing that anxiety is discomfort, and going through those experiences just lessened the anxiety, and the more I did it, the more comfortable I was, and the more I kind of liked it. Other than the PhD, I set my own practice in my own home. The house I live in now is something that I built based on monies that I had saved, and so it's specifically to my needs. I have 2 nieces and 2 nephews that I spend so much time with. I've got a quad stick that I set up so I can play Xbox with my nephews when they're online. They're very impressionable. Right now they're ages 9, 10, and 2 or 11, and they have only known me as an injured person. Just being around them, allowing them to learn that life has many forms. Adversity is something that can be overcome, and diversity isn't something that's negative. It's something that's wonderful to look at, and that everyone comes in different forms and shapes and sizes. And any of the negative things they don't last. Things kind of overcome themselves, and then just everything kind of works out in the end. So my brother passed away 7 years ago from colon cancer, so I'm very aware of that. Sister was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, even though she's still, functioning and is okay. any kind of negative emotion crops up in my life, instead of making a major decision based on that, I always kind of sit on it for 3 days and let that negative emotion subside, and then can be a little more rational, I guess. I like to read. I like to watch movies. I like to go to sporting events, comedy clubs. I partake in alcohol every now and then. I'm very regimented. I get up every morning at the same time. I do a strict exercise routine with an FES bike and a standing frame, because I don't want my health limitations to impact anything that I want to do. When I was first injured, I had doctors tell me about walking again. They said, well, in 5 years from now, there might be a cure. And so 5 years went by and nothing changed. And I was kind of frustrated because I really took meticulous care of my body just to get ready for that day when walking was going to occur. But then as time went by, I realized, I was having more and more positive experiences without the ability to walk, without the ability to use my hands. And so I guess the most important thing I realized was knowing that life is more than just an injury. Instead of focusing on the million things you cannot do, focus on the 9 million things you still can. Get out there and experience things.